Hello guys, this is Octavius with North American Archery. That's right, I changed the name because of multiple reasons. One reason is because I'm from North America. Number two, I love archery. Number three, I'm very patriotic. And I guess number four, I hunt big game animals in North America. And so I've been thinking about it for a long time and I decided to change the name. I hope you like it as much as I do, okay? But without further ado, I got a bow review today, and that bow review is on the 59 Kodiak by Bear Archery. 59 Kodiak. There it is right there, all set up, ready to go. I got this bow for my birthday. This bow, I did not buy it new. I bought it used off eBay, and we'll get into the actual specifications in a minute. But this is the actual bow and it is a beauty. So I got some history for you. You know what I like to do when it comes to Bear bows. I like to give you a little history about it because it's so iconic. Every bow that Fred Bear made was so iconic that they have their own cult followings for each individual one. And the 59 Kodiak is not any exception to that rule. So number one I want to talk about is Bear Archery was actually formed in 1933 by Fred Bear and Charles Piper. Now they ended up splitting ways over the years, and Charles Piper went his way, and then Fred Bear obviously continued on and did his deal. But in 1941, the Bear Grizzly was made, which a lot of guys go out with a Grizzly, and that's something else in the future I'll do a review on as well. But in 1950, Fred introduced the first Kodiak ever, okay? And these were called static recurves, and I wish I had a picture for you, but they were pretty much straight and they were pretty much like a longbow. If you ever seen one of those old bows with barely any curve to them at the end, they're not really a recurve, but I think they have like a fatter piece on the limb tips, and then the actual bow is like a longbow. You got to remember, in 1950, most guys went hunting with longbows. Recurves were really new on the scene. And so they called it static because the ends were really static, okay, really straight. And they did come with a leather grip. This bow right here comes with a leather grip on it, okay? Very nice cowhide grip, okay? It actually went on that 1950 bow. Fred had the foresight back then to put a grip on his bows, which is so awesome, okay? And then in 1952, Bear added a little more reflex to the Kodiak. And then in 1953, there was more of a reddish burnt orange glass to it, okay? Other than that, the bow was about the same up until 1953. Then in 1954, Fred introduced the Kodiak 2, which came in actually a 56, a 60 inch, a 64, and a 68. This bow here is a 60-inch longbow. Now, 60-inch recurve, I should say, okay? And so this 60-inch recurve is all you can get a 59 Kodiak in. But back in the day, in the 1950s, you could get it in a 56, a 60, a 64, and a 68. So I thought that was pretty good. But it was also double-sided. So you had a right side and a left side to the actual bow, so you could shoot it either a left-hand shooter or a right-hand shooter could shoot this bow. So they still have them and they're pretty collectible, but they're pretty bad shape, a lot of them, because they're from the 1950s. And then also from 55 to 58, okay, up until the year before the iconic 59 Kodiak came on the scene, you had different variations, different colors, and so forth. And then in 1958, sometime in that year, you had what's called a sow belly, which is actually a white glass. So the part of your bow right here, like this is brown glass on this bow, it was actually white glass. But according to my research, it was not popular at all. A lot of people didn't like it and they didn't sell well. So then in 1959 brings us to this bow. This bow right here came out in 1959 and was the very first time that Fred Bear Archery used exotic hardwoods. And the exotic hardwoods was big deal because it became a very beautiful bow. And this bow actually later on that year came out with the purple sight window. Now this is a reproduction bow. This is a 2018 to 2020 model, But back in the day, it had that purple sight window to it, just like you can see right there, okay? So that came out later in the 1959. So this was the actual time frame. So from 1950, for 9 years, this bow was getting refined over and over and over again until Fred Bear could get it to where he wanted it to be. I love that because he knows what he's doing. Now, also, another thing I got on my notes here, that coin right there, also, they started to put that coin in 1959 as well. So that's another thing. In this particular model, the coin, the copper coin, got put in 1959. Now, let's go on to the specs of this bow. And then I'm gonna go through the specs, then I'm gonna go to the additional changes that I made on the bow, and then I might shoot it a little bit so you can see how it shoots, and I can give you some feedback on that, and then we can be done with the video. Okay, so this particular model I got on eBay. I did not buy this new. I don't have a problem with buying new bows, but I don't buy them usually because you can get a whole setup like this and change it to what you want. This bow is a beautiful bow. There's nothing wrong with it. I might have a couple scratches on it, but other than that, a guy had it for a couple years and he got tired of it. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't want it no more. So why not take it from him and pass it on to my kids, right? Because I'm gonna shoot it for the rest of my life, okay? But that's a good place to get a good deal. You go on eBay and you look and you look and you look, and sometimes I don't like to look on eBay because I'll spend a bunch of money, right? And I got a budget that I have to go by like everybody else in America or in the world, right? So the thing is that save your money up and get you a nice Bear bow. Now, if you want to go a brand new bow, go do it, okay? Everybody wants to do that at least one time in their life, especially if you get into traditional archery and you enjoy it as much as I do. But primarily, I would tell you what you need to do primarily is look for a good deal and get something at a discount rate that somebody barely used. A lot of my bows are that way. So let me go over the specs. Number one, tip to tip. You got a reinforced fiberglass tip, okay? Then you got brown glass on the actual limbs. This is 2 layers of maple on the actual limbs. That's what they're made out of. Then you go down here, your sight window has this purple heart is what they call it. And then you also have the wood itself is let's see what I got here. I had it wrote down. Let me look this up because I don't want to pronounce it wrong. The wood itself is Babinga wood. So this wood right here is a Babinga wood, is what this is. And it has also, like I said, the purple heart, and then it has fiberglass front right here in the front of that riser. Then it has right there a Bear feather rest. And what that does is that when you put your arrow on the shelf like this, it keeps it elevated and you have less contact on your actual shelf. A lot of times you shoot off the shelf like this gives you less contact than the entire shelf does. You see the difference there? That's why this is so great. It takes a little bit getting used to, but I'm telling you, this is an iconic rest on an iconic bow, and it gives you little contact, and it makes the arrows crazy accurate, and they fly off the shelf straight when you're bear tuning. I'm telling you. Then you also got green logos on here. See those green logos? You got the Kodiak logo here. You got this right here. Like I said, is the let me get it around here. You got the actual Greensville, Florida. Okay, and then also you got the leather grip. Like I said before, you got the leather strike plate on here. Copper coin, like I told you before. And then trying to see if there's anything else that I want to share. Oh, let me share this. This is a 60-inch AMO, which means it's 60 inches long, and it's a 55-pound bow. They do make these up to 60 pounds. Now, this bow was discontinued, And now in 2022, I believe it is, they have this in green glass. And I don't have one of those yet, but eventually I will. But this is the way it was looking back in the day. So I prefer this look a little bit more because it has the brown glass and it has that iconic look. Also, the brace height is 7.5 inches to 8.5 inches. This one I got set up at 8 inches. I typically run my bows somewhere in between, and it serves me pretty well. Also, on this particular bow, I'm shooting split finger. Historically, I've shot in the last couple of years 3 under. Now I'm using split finger because of multiple reasons. Number one, I want to get to the point where I'm just as good either way. And two, you shoot an iconic bow like this, it feels good to shoot it with a split finger, okay? What I did to the bow is I got limb silencers. These are hair limb silencers. Then I got these cattails on it like this. I put a new string on it, new serving, new knock point. Selway quiver came with the bow, and so do these wooden arrows that I don't shoot because they're about, I think 550 grains. It's a little too light for me for hunting. You want at least 10 grains per inch. But when I shoot this bow with a 31-inch draw length, this 55-pound bow, when you add up the numbers, is going to be about 60 to 61 pounds, okay? I haven't put it on the scale yet, but I'm pretty sure that's what it's going to pull. Then the Selway quiver that came on it really quiets the bow down, especially when you got the combination of the Selway quiver, the cat whiskers, or I should say the cat whiskers, or you can call them, I call them cattails. And then you also got these limb silencers. So with all that said, when I started shooting this bow has a little hand shock for me, but I'm shooting a 60-inch tip to tip bow. So when you shoot a bow this short like this, you're going to have a little bit of hand shock when you have a draw length like mine. Every bow that I shoot typically gives me a little hand shock if it's not made to my draw length and my specifications. But the the hand shock is not as bad when you pull it back. It is pretty dead in the hand for a man with a 31-inch draw length, okay? I can promise you that. And one more thing I want to tell you about how this thing shoots before I shoot it for you. It is the quietest recurve I've ever shot in my life. And I'm not kidding you. I've shot a lot of different high-end bows, not to throw them under the bus, as well as manufactured bows, mass-produced bows like this one. And I'm telling you, this is a quiet bow. It just very quiet. I don't think a deer is going to hear it in the woods. It's that quiet. So I'm going to shoot it at a target over here off to the side so you can hear it. But I'm telling you, it's pretty quiet. Also, you can see this grip is very elegant. It's very small. It's rounded. Okay, has a little bit of forward grip right here where you put your hand well at. But my hand goes completely around that, just like that. And it's so easy to grab and wield. I mean, you pull this bow up, you can wield it anywhere. I mean, it's just ready to go. You can grab it like you mean it. And you're not gonna torque the bow because it has great string follow. This string is gonna come straight back on the limbs. These limbs do not twist that good at all. I mean, I shouldn't say, it doesn't twist that bad, I should say. This limb is very stout. And you can see when you look at the limbs, it's narrow and then it gets fatter as it goes, like kind of like a longbow. Like a longbow, a lot of times is very thin. A lot of the recurves are all the way thick, all the way up. This is very thin and then it gets to thick all the way down. So it's just an awesome bow, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna shoot. Now what I normally do when I get a bow, like I said, I got this for my birthday. My wife asked me, what do you want? She says, don't tell me another bow. I said, let me think, another bow. So basically I told her, I said, I wanted a 59 Kodiak for a very long time. And I got a good deal on eBay and I want to go for it. I would say MSRP on this bow is anywhere from $600 to about $900, depending on where you go. And I think it's worth every penny. I'm telling you, this is so beautiful. You can't see it that well maybe, but you can see the purple even right here. That purple heart is right by this Babinga wood right here, all the way around it. And then even down here, you can see that purple all going through right next to the, all down the riser, and then down the front of the limbs, you can see that that purple is going down like that as well. And so I'm telling you, this bow is a beautiful bow, and it shoots really well, probably in my top couple bows in my collection. So what I'm shooting in it is these camo hunters, very cheap arrows, but I can go hunting with these. They're aluminum. They're about 665 grains, I think, like that, or 670 grains ish last time I measured them. But these suckers right here are flying true out of it. And what I typically do when I get a new bow is I get a bow and I say, you know what, let me get some arrows right out of my arrow box and see what's gonna shoot good out of it. Right now, this is shooting good out of it. I could go hunting with these arrows and put down any animal I wanted to. So with that said, what I will tell you is that I'm gonna shoot this bow and you're gonna hear on camera how quiet it really is. Now this sucker is a thumper. It will thump anything you put your eyes on, and it's gonna hit where you're looking. It's very accurate. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna back up a little bit, but listen to the sound. So you heard the smack of me hitting that target, but did you hear the bow? I bet you didn't. So let me go ahead and shoot this deer target down here and see if you can hear it there. Did you hear that? That sucker is quiet. It's like all you hear is wind, okay? And so I was shocked that once I first shot the bow, you could hear it a little bit, but when I put my string silencers on and my limb silencers on and my cell weight quiver, this sucker is a quiet bow. I'm gonna kill some deer this year with this bow. I'm going hunting up north where I'm from with this bow, and I promise you, I'm gonna do the best I can to take this bow right here and kill some deer on camera for the channel, okay? And so I wanted to commemorate the name change of our channel to North American Archery, and what better way to do that with a 59 Kodiak, which has taken so many animals over the years in North America. And I'm gonna take some this year for sure. So I hope this video helps you guys make a decision on a 59 Kodiak. I am telling you, you will not be disappointed. And this is from a guy that's maxing it out, okay? I'm maxing this bow out. So like I said before in other videos, this is a full length arrow, okay? And I'm gonna pull this sucker back. That's my draw length right there. So I'm maxing this sucker out big time. So just know when I'm shooting this bow, I'm maximizing its potential as far as the long stroke of the arrow going through the bow, okay? So if there's any hand shock that's excessive, if I felt like it was not accurate, I would find that out probably within the first day of shooting. And I'm telling you, this is probably, if not the most accurate recurve I own, probably in the top 2 or 3. It's for sure the quietest. And so this is my new favorite bow, and I'm gonna be shooting it a lot, and I'm gonna be hunting with it a lot. And I appreciate you guys tuning into this video on North American Archery. And I hope this helped you make a decision on this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful bow. All right, guys, remember this, you don't have to get ready when you stay ready. All right, guys, we'll talk to you soon.